Warning.
You're listening to the Team Jakey Podcast. Before we get started, we want to acknowledge that this podcast discusses mental health, suicide, grief, loss, and other difficult topics. We also want to be upfront about something. Our conversations may not sound like what people expect from a mental health podcast. We have experienced significant loss, and humor has been one of the ways we've learned to cope. Sometimes humor is dry, sometimes it's dark, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. That doesn't mean we take these topics lightly. In fact, it's because we've lived through them that we talk about them the way we do. Our goal is to never minimize anyone's pain, offend people, or make light of mental illness, suicide, or grief. Our goal is to create honest conversations that help people feel less alone and encourage them to seek support when they need it. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone you trust, contact a mental health professional, or call or text 988 for immediate support.
You were too young, too strong, too full of hope to go wrong, too blind to see the calling or the outstretched hands from falling, too cared for, too loved, too out of touch from above, too much of the pain to burden. We couldn't see you hurting. Oh, my friend, you're not alone. Though you're far from home, hear me for what I say. You can always save the day, even if you're down and out, and the one you love can do without. It'll be save the day.
Welcome to the Team Jakey Podcast, episode 2. This is an episode of coping mechanisms, our first ever. First, I want to get into it. This is your host, Sam Zeller, or Sammy Z. Sometimes people call me the best twin. It really just matters.
There aren't that many left, so.
Well, still the best.
Cupboard got barren pretty quick.
All right, over here I got my co-host, my host, Max Otten. How are you doing today?
I am great. I'm happy to be here. We have some incredible guests coming on today. Incredible looking, incredible acting, all the way around.
How's your week go, though, before we get into that?
So far, so good. Yeah. Everything's cool. My pets are still alive. So, better the weekend than you.
I'm sure that some of the listeners know we've lost a dear member of my family, Leo, my 9-year-old French bulldog. Not even 9. It was sudden, and he will be missed. But he is in my backyard forever.
Suicide, right?
Yeah. Well, he just jumped himself right off the second story. You're trying to go into the pool. I think we're not sure. But I'm going to say, you guys really don't know grief until you've lost a pet.
Yeah, parents, siblings, nothing compares to a dog that can't talk.
It is tough. No, I came out with that little note on Facebook the other day, and I was like, really felt kind of bad doing it. I was like, oh, I'm one of those guys. I'm being one of those.
Yeah, and, all the years of being definitely not a dog guy. You're a fucking dog guy now. So
kind of.
Cry on, dog guy.
Yeah, sorry, I joined the club. So yeah, that was my week, but all in all, it's shaping up because, like you said, we have 2 guys who've lost a whole lot. They've lost their will to live to some degree,
virginity,
dignity.
Yeah, it's all gone.
No, these 2 guys have lost. They've lost those close to them, and early on in life and recently. So we got Matt and Mark Rudloff with us, and I don't know them apart, and it's been 37 years, and I still forget which one is which. One's got a mark, birthmark. Show me where this mark is at. See, I have so many marks. I guess I take that one for granted.
Show me the other one.
I thought we did a check.
We did. That working?
Hello?
All right, go ahead.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Test.
We're good.
Can you hear me?
We're good. We're
All
good.
right. Sounds
I
good.
figured it out.
All right.
This is why we got him. He's a
Yeah.
real talent.
That's all right.
Yeah, turn them on.
So yeah, we got the two twins here. Now we've covered who's who, and I already forgot. Mark, Matt.
Yep.
I got it. So, hey, thanks for being here.
No, thanks
we
for
appreciate it.
yeah. We our father who's in heaven and his sixth sense of humor that he passed on, where he's probably just so proud right now that we were thought of when to talk about humor and grief at the same time, because he taught us.
Yeah, that, and we'll get into that. I want to
Absolutely.
know how it comes to be. You get this thrusted upon you, and I'd say if that was gifted upon you, it's probably a great gift to have. So why don't you tell us a little bit, high level, who you guys are, your relationship to Max and I, to whatever terrible degree there is with that, and then your relationship to Team Jakey.
All right. So our families go back a long way. So Sam's dad went to grade school with our mom, and I don't know, maybe we're brothers and sisters or brothers. I don't know. Who knows what they did back in that Catholic school, those shenanigans. Anyway, when we were best friends with your brother Steve growing up, and then
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
we had some of the funniest times have always been with your family, starting with him. So
Okay.
anyway,
My
so
first kiss was your sister Jenna in the back of your mom's LeSabre. I think I was in kindergarten. She was in preschool.
oh yeah,
Very
I
nice.
thought
See, that could have went both ways. I could have went
Yeah.
with Steven. I wasn't sure what
Mark's
you were going to
first kiss
say.
was Steven in the back of the saber.
hey, it's all in the family. Yeah. So anyway, our families really got close, when we were in probably from kindergarten with Steve all the way up. And then you and Jake were born 10 years later. And, my dad was asked to be godfather. And so that helped bring us all together even closer. And my mom, thought it was so cool that there was other twins that were 10 years younger than us, that she probably passed on some crappy clothes or something like that. But anyway, but we go back a long way. So, that being said, when Jake passed, obviously that was devastating. And, it was, it still is just, it's tough to even think about, but
Yeah, please tell Sam how hard it was on you when Jake died.
no, I know, but I will say, I remember, my dad, let me back up a little bit real quick. If I can give you a history real quick, my dad's sense of humor and just how that goes.
Absolutely. We got
coping
time.
mechanism. Yeah. So my dad had a twin brother. They were fraternal. Okay. So
I always forget this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Artie and Marty.
Artie and Marty. Yeah. So they had,
I got creative.
yes. So they were, when they were 2 years old, they had two older sisters. They had a 5-year-old sister and a 9-year-old sister. When they were 2 years old, their 9-year-old sister, Judy, who was the oldest, was hit and killed by a car. Taxi driver hit her not far from here, in St. Louis. And so that, was obviously devastating to hit their parents. They both relied on alcohol quite a bit. At one point, they had to go to his mother and said, "Hey, listen, you got a set of twins that are 2 years old. You need to, kind of get things together because you still got 3 kids you got to raise," and so forth. So anyway, so then, as time went on, they dealt with that growing up. 2 alcoholic parents. Another, thing that I think was, something to
Unique,
deal
I
with
would say.
in the 60s was, when he was, when they were 16, his twin brother came out as homosexual, which was not common back then in the 60s. We got into conversations down the road, closer to when he died, just talking about how difficult that was for them. And, his parents accepted him, they were pretty, after losing a child, that puts things into perspective, doesn't it? What I mean? So,
absolutely.
And they were probably shit-faced.
oh, well,
Yeah.
that,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't remember
Yeah,
much.
they were alcoholics. So
Yeah,
they were
right.
like, whatever.
yeah. Does he drink?
Yeah.
That's fine with
Yeah.
us.
They're like, what religion is homosexuality? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just shut up and get me another
He had to come
gin.
out like a few times, I imagine.
exactly. So
like, I
anyway,
told you
so
guys this.
I would say one of the defining moments for us growing up when we were, I guess, 12 years old, his twin brother died of AIDS, 41 years old.
One of
and
the first.
And he, it was tough. It was interesting times. It was, he had his brother before he died had gone to like 40 funerals in the 2 years prior. All his friends. He lived in San Francisco. This is how things were back in the 80s and 90s that people don't remember. So I would say this: we were talking about this last night when my dad came home. You can actually take over if you want and talk about
Oh,
it.
you're fine.
But when he came home, I mean, he was wrecked. I mean, they were twins, you know, I mean, and they weren't physically close in the sense of they lived across the country from her, but they had that bond. They grew up together. And it was awful to watch the next 2-3 weeks. I mean, my dad liked to drink too, like all our dads, you know, and you know, he'd come home from the bar every night, 8-9 o'clock at night, and go directly in the basement, play some music real loud, probably cry, you know, whatever. It was the first time we ever seen him cry. He wasn't afraid of crying, but it was just definitely something that you know, was tough to watch, you know, and on top of all that, then we just had a string where, you know, he passed away in November. We had another uncle that passed of a heart attack. He was 48 years old right after that. My aunt died of cancer, like within 4 years. 44 years old. That was my mom's sister. My mom got diagnosed with bipolar during all this. So it was just like one thing after the other. So, but through all that, we found some ways to laugh. So, yeah. So I don't know if that gives a good history to some of the sickness that will come out today.
And how old were you guys when your uncle died?
12.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do remember, I was just remembering this, your dad, Steve Sr., was at the after party of the funeral.
Yeah.
He came up to my dad and they were remarking about the song that was played at the funeral, which was He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. And your dad said to my dad, from the Hollies, yeah. And your dad said to my dad, well, from my understanding, your brother wasn't very heavy at the end, was he? And I just remember my dad busting out laughing, and I'm like, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
He was cremated, correctly?
Oh, yeah. We have we have another story about that kind of incriminates a lot of people. Do you remember the story at all?
I remember there's a story about a cemetery.
I have never heard this story.
Okay, so we were. So Artie had, I mean, he, like I said, he lived in California. The only people that knew him in St. Louis knew where he was. I mean, it was basically family, and there were some friends, obviously. But so my dad gets cremated. And we got this box, and he's like, you know, I don't know how he decided. I don't know if they're being cheap or what, but they decided not to get a headstone. So he's like, well, I know where he's going to be at. He goes, so he calls your dad up and your brother Steve, and we go pick them up, and it's raining, and he's like, yeah, you want to take a little field trip? So yeah, we go out to Calvary, and we decide to dig a little hole over my grandparents and bury this box in the ground. And as we're doing this, I mean, it was our dads and then 4 kids, and you know, as we're doing this, here
started to drizzle. Started to drizzle. It's kind of Stephen Kingish.
Yeah, but a beautiful day to spend with the kids.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Some people go to the zoo, other abandoned corpses.
Death, cemetery work. It's a family business.
Yeah. So we you know, the grounds crew's coming up with the golf cart, and my dad's like, oh shit. He's like, you know, act like you're crying. So we're, you know, doing the old
gathered around, our shoulders are going up and down. We're really putting on a good show. You know?
Yeah, and then we went to the tavern afterwards and had a few. Well, they had a few and we watched, but yeah, that's that story, you know. So we used to laugh about, you know, you can't. You're the mayor, but you can't run for any higher office now. I mean, you're gonna just
this one will come out.
About it. Yeah. So,
it'll come out. You're going back, guys. It's gonna come out in the podcast.
Yeah. Exactly. So but yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. But you know, even when he always had a just a great sense of humor, just a sick sense of humor too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my grandma, my mom's, so his mother-in-law, my mom's mom had passed away, and she was on, you know, like had a heart attack, or you know, was in the hospital for 2 months and then ended up passing away. And so at the end of the wake, you know, it's just basically family and close friends, and this is the beeper days, and my dad just decides to use his beeper and emulate the heart monitor and do beep
and then flatline.
Beep. Oh my God. And my mom was just like, you son of a bitch. You know? But you know, it was just one of those things that
we laughed when we were kids. We thought it was hilarious.
It's I mean, but we've kind of been, you know, just you know, I guess just kind of programmed to kind of be that way. I mean, just to try to, I mean, I remember we were talking about this too, and my grandma used to watch us when we were kids, and my dad came home from work one night. Now this is awful, but her neighbor across the street was changing a tire on his car. He had a big old, like, you know, 72 you know, Chevelle or I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter. But anyway,
good though.
But he goes to put the tire back in the trunk, and he slams the trunk. Well, he forgot to take jack the car down. Well, the slamming of the trunk knocked the car off the jack, and it was in neutral, and it rolled over him and pinned him up against the tree, and he passed away. because of this. So she was devastated. So my dad comes home and he was at the tavern, and so he's like, what's going on? She says what happened, and I could just see his mind churning. And he's like, oh, I heard he was a real pain in the ass anyway. And then, one thing, I heard he was barking up the wrong tree. My grandma was pissed. But we're laughing our asses off. We thought it was
the police got there and they were stumped. Just like that. It went on and on. Yeah, they couldn't understand the root of the problem. It just went on.
So it was, that's the kind of stuff, the environment that
we were like, Dad, a little too soon, But,
yeah. But she didn't appreciate it, but we thought it was hysterical, but that's the kind of stuff that we grew up with,
Yeah. So it's safe to say that humor was something that was existed well before any loss, but came out quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So coping mechanism before the word coping mechanism was really probably much of a thought.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was kind of a joke too, I think, where a lot of his family members had passed in December for whatever reason, and he ended up dying on December 26th. But it's just one of those things where he was always very good at counseling people that had dealt with things too.
This is your dad?
This is my dad. Yeah. He could be serious.
I'm trying to count how many dead people they're talking about.
Yeah, there's lots of. Yeah.
We're off the neighbor now.
Yeah. He could be serious as can be, and he actually told us one time that he would have been a funeral director if he, that was one of the things that he had always considered, so it's just, one of the things he's passed on too is I think that, just listening to people, just hearing them, listening, and then also being there with some good advice and so forth. And, I think that's something that we've tried to do as well. He was always worried about people and just trying to, be there for him and counsel them where they could, and he was kind of known as, having been through a lot of this stuff, so yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No. So just because we're going to we might touch on it later, talk a bit about your guys' relationship as identical twins, assuming you're identical, and I still can't tell you apart, and you can leave the gay stuff out.
I feel like I'm talking the most. You can talk. Oh yeah, no. So Mark and I are we're 4 minutes apart.
That was
Matt. So we're 4 minutes apart. We are identical. I've always been a little heavier than him. That's the joke was Fat Mac is it around her face. Mark's birthmark. Mark. I've exceeded him in poundage over the last 2 years, so it's easier to tell us apart. But yeah, we've always been extremely close. Growing up, my mom would dress us exactly alike, even if it was, the same pattern but different color. We were pretty much identical. We've always been interested in the same things. So we've gone through school and had the same classes. I remember in Bellefonte we bought the same exact house, which was weird. Same floor plan. Yeah. It was just coincidence or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we both work at the same place but different offices.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
which is fun because that was actually an interesting story because we showed up at a job fair and we talked to this gentleman and he was, I think, just interested because we were twins and he's like going on and on about this job and they called like 2 weeks later and we're saying, oh, well, we like you both, but we only have one job opening. And I was the one that answered. And I said, well, I'm going to give you the phone to my brother, Mark, because he's engaged. He needs it more than I do. Oh. So Mark ended up getting hired. And then I went for it a year later and I ended up getting hired on as well. So
yeah.
Wasn't that nice of me? That was pretty.
But it's, one that was very nice of you, but one thing, it's in it. One thing what's great about being a twin is that you basically have a constant companion, a friend,
Sure.
You can deal with all your issues together,
Mm-hmm.
You have some of the same issues, some of them, there's been times where, we've gone through some tough times individually where the other one was able to help. I'm not to make you jealous. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But,
Sick.
sounds
awesome for you guys.
Yeah.
No.
We are triplet.
What? So did you guys? I forget. Did you guys go to college?
Yeah, we took all the same classes together. We went to
Okay.
UMSL. We went to Flow Valley, then UMSL, and then we. It kind of became a joke. The last 2 years, you end up taking all the same classes with a lot of the same people, and they were just kind of like, there's the twins again, So
Yeah.
Go ahead. I had a teacher in high school that always said, hey, you guys should really start doing your own thing because it's going to be quite the adjustment when you no longer are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So in college was kind of the natural.
So Jake actually did that. That's cool.
Yeah, Jake's like,
Jake was like, I'm going to do my own thing right out the door.
I'm going to peace out of here. Yeah,
He to the extreme, but you know,
Yeah.
he had a different idea of the future.
Yeah.
Our 5-year plan was a bit different.
Yeah.
His resume stopped suddenly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you explain this gap in your work here?
No, he got to college though, and it kind of naturally went. He was like, "I'm not doing this whole math accounting deal." So he went into psychology. Irony there.
Yeah.
You skip a lot of classes?
Not well attended, right?
Is that the test you took for him?
And
I'll grade him right now.
but I always wonder what it would have been like if we followed footsteps in some degree, or if we had split footsteps earlier, because we were so connected at the hip in high school. If things would have been different, do you think things for you guys would look different had you not worked at the same place? Jake would have been like the custodian at the accounting firm. How's that?
I don't necessarily think we've never worked in the same office, so we do. We work with the disabled, so I mean we have similar stories and
so with each other
that.
primarily.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
you guys can relate.
Yes,
exactly.
we analyze each other all the time. But I would say that I don't think that if it's kind of hard to say, in the sense of like, we've pretty much been very close in the sense of like people that I work with people that he used to work with, and he's an opposite, and they're like, you guys have the exact same mannerisms, same sense of humor. Like we will be at a happy hour and we're lifting the beer at the same time. I mean, I get like going to the bathroom. We have the same bladder, pretty much, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and we've had those twin moments throughout our, where, I'm singing a song and he's, on the same line in his head, just stuff like that. We've had a few things like that, but it's just but my dad used to always talk. Him and his brother were not extremely close. They had complete opposites.
He didn't want to catch it. That's why they were close. That's why he didn't get close to him.
That's a good
back then
point.
It was the 60s.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but but he said, the twin bond you can't explain. It's just like it's almost tangible in a way. I mean, it's just there, so
it exists with, like you said, it's inexplicable.
Yeah.
I like to say that it's unspoken too. It's something Jake and I would be watching television and there was no like, can we stop watching this? Or can we watch something I want to watch? I literally, whoever was in charge of the remote, it was instinctual where you change the channel and it's like the other twin was already thinking like change the channel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was like telepathic to some degree, but that's just how you're on the same page.
Right. Right. No, exactly.
Until you're not, which is cool.
Yeah.
Well, we've even done like, I think like if we're doing a project together, like if I'm helping him do something at his house or opposite or whatever, or even when we worked for the Parks Department together, like it was like you didn't have to tell each other who was doing. It was kind of like you were just kind of doing it and going through. It was working, so
yeah, those were good times too, you guys. So for the audience, Matt and Mark worked for a city municipal park department, cutting grass, and then years into their regular life, they grew up. Jake and I, what 10 years? We have a 10-year difference.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jake and I, twins, working at the very same Parks Department. So they only hired twins, so they didn't have many. They don't have anybody working for them anymore.
Hard to believe that neighborhood's gone downhill with you four.
The
upkeep.
The grass has never looked.
Well, we used to laugh because people would always tell us how, gosh, you guys are such hard workers. Then we would realize that they'd see one of us at one end of the park, and then 5 minutes later they'd see the other one. We're like,
this guy's all over the place.
Exactly. I'll tell you what's interesting though. One of the things that you had asked about, just like us doing different jobs, or whatever. I do remember distinctly, Mark, when Mark started dating, he had his first girlfriend, and I was left at home for years. Anyway, but that was interesting because that's when it started to be, are you the one with or without the girlfriend? Are you the one that's engaged or not engaged? Are you the one that's married or not married? Now I'm the one divorced. So that's
so you're still getting the short end of that stick.
Yeah, exactly. The measuring stick is
so that always was interesting, and it was always funny too to show up like when we kind of grew apart, in terms of like socially, Mark, I would show up somewhere and Mark like, hey guys, and I'm like, Mark's not here, it's just me.
Yeah.
And they were like,
it's just me. Yeah.
We're always together.
I get that now still.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's just you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
One time we did have a training through work where even though we worked at different offices, the training was at a central location. So we show up, we bought the exact same box set, like the shirt, tie, pants combo.
Yeah.
We look like idiots.
Same Macy's box set.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Aldi. But anyway,
dude,
one
if
of those
Aldi
special
did
purchases.
that now, I'd be all up in that.
Yeah. So everybody thought we did it on purpose. We're like, no, we did not do this on purpose.
This is how your
Just
brains work.
accidental credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we should share the one, like talking about just twins and in syncness, whatever. The one story that
we got time for
the one thing that is inexplicable, but or unexplainable, however you want to say it. But we were in high school. I'm snoring. I've already bored the audience.
My dad was a classic. That one. Go ahead.
Just snore. But no, we were sitting at the table at the cafeteria across from each other in high school, and I was chewing or sucking on a very masculine gobstopper, and I coughed. It got lodged in my throat, and I'm sitting there choking, and I was, peer pressure, and you're worried about people. I'm like, I don't want to make a scene. I'm going to be,
just die with some dignity.
I'll just die at the table.
Don't make an ass out of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
So I'm panicking, and I'm like, cannot breathe. And in my head, I'm looking at Mark. He's eating a sandwich, looking down, and I say in my head, Mark, look up. Instantly.
Yeah. So I look up.
Looks up.
I look up, and I hear him say, "I'm choking."
I was also purple. No,
no, he wasn't. But he said, "I'm choking. Don't make a scene. Let's go." That's what he said.
And you said, "I'm eating." Figure it out.
Sandwich is really good. Yeah.
Mom got the good turkey. Figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. But we literally stood up at the same time. We stopped to throw our trash away. I mean, who does that?
I mean, seriously.
So the greatest thing is we exit the cafeteria.
Because of Parks Department.
Yeah, it was the Parks Department. They trained
you
us
knew
well.
you had to clean it up later.
We got to clean up this trash. Yeah. So
we don't want to keep pick it up later.
Exactly. So we exit the cafeteria in the hallway at your Rosary, and Mark's giving me the Heimlich maneuver, and probably on the third thrust, it flies out, and I catch it. As he's behind me, though, doing the Heimlich maneuver, this gaggle of beautiful girls come down the stair and witness this entire action.
I'm humping my brother in there.
Yeah. It was not the prettiest scene to be walking upon in the middle of
your most athletic move, too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
There's actually a mural down there for you.
Wow.
Now. It's an outline of you.
It's a silhouette.
Yeah, it's just an outline of you. Too.
What's crazy about that story is they're literally living Tim Robinson skits.
Yeah.
Like that's an actual skit. If you guys haven't watched, I think you should leave.
There's a guy who's choking in a restaurant and he
doesn't
want to embarrass himself in front of the people at the table. Like paramedics show up and he's like, I wonder what's going on.
I have not seen this. Is hilarious.
No, we got to send it to you because you guys have lived it.
Yes, we have.
Or he stole it from you, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Somehow he was at Rosary that day.
Maybe the story's just traveled.
You know what's funny too is though, from another angle though, like when we started doing things differently, when I started dating my wife, my mom was really like worried. Like she would tell me, I'm really worried about Matt, and all this stuff, and like she would like it was like this another layer of like making him feel like a loser.
You're like, I'm getting laid. I'm not worried about anything.
Life is good.
I could feel it, so it didn't matter to me. I was at home and I'm like, oh, Mark, great job. Longer than 3 minutes.
No, a lot of that stuff I actually align with. A lot of those situations, especially one twin excelling versus another at certain times in life.
Sure.
Yeah. Jake shit about the dead guy.
Jake really struggled with that. Like when I even would he had a girlfriend. He eventually had a girlfriend, and everything was all, good. But in high school, he really struggled with the idea that he didn't have a girlfriend. Like that was and he did. He eventually did.
Yeah.
But then he didn't, and then he hated. Like I think he probably crushed on my now wife. To some degree, probably because I caught him making out with her once. But
oh my gosh,
Cat was kind of out of the bag.
We weren't married. We weren't married.
So did she know it was him?
It was in high school. Yeah, we weren't actually dating.
Yeah, they fight about that to this day.
That's
we
hilarious.
do not. It was, the game was afoot.
Everybody was an eligible receiver downfield.
Yeah, Jake was like, I want some of this action. I was like, whoa, I thought claim to stake here, and he punched me in the nose one time. There's like this unsaid don't face shot rule when you're beating each other up.
Yeah.
He went for the nose, and then he's like,
who was the one that heated up the fork? Was that you or was that him?
No, he I'm pretty sure that
Jake was making mac and cheese one day, and Sam's in the kitchen waiting for his shit to be done microwaving, and Jake's holding the tines of a fork over the burner while Sam's standing in the kitchen in gym shorts and no shirt, and Jake just turns around right when the microwave goes off and goes right into
Yeah.
Sam's chest, and then went back to stirring his mac and cheese.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Do you have a scar?
No, I don't. It wasn't. I didn't let him just sit there and
Yeah,
do
a little
it.
subliminal
Yeah.
jealousy going on.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'll fix your."
I can
fucking
remember
mac."
when you guys were up at boating up in Ellsbury. Your price, what, 18 maybe 17? We took
Probably
you guys.
16.
We took you guys tubing, and you guys beating the shit out of each
Oh,
other.
I
It was
know.
Yeah,
hysterical.
it was
Do we have
great.
like 2 tubes or?
Yes.
Yeah.
And ramming each
Double
other, and trying to
tubing, yeah.
knock each other off, and then
Yeah,
that
we
was
were
great.
violent, but it was always one. It was fair. It was a fair fight always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We never did wrestle or anything like that.
We would play pool games. That was how we would
Yeah,
decide things.
we
We would just
would.
play pool against each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
pool, like you mean
Just
billiards or games?
Billiards.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know
Wait,
why.
bumper
Not
pool.
Marco Polo. Yeah, we used to play Marco Polo.
We didn't have billiards money. We had pool.
Yeah.
Bumper,
Bumper
Yeah.
pool. Yeah.
bumper
exactly.
pool.
It's not billiards in Bell Fountain neighborhoods. It's just pool. It's pool.
Yeah,
Okay?
shoot pool.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not shooting a game of snooker in the basement of Abyssal House.
with the door with the stick hitting the side of the.
Yeah, the paneling.
It's like
that
Bang, yeah.
Seinfeld episode.
There's no room. Right.
Yeah.
That situation.
You know what's interesting though? I mean, I think in general though, like it's our normal, right? I mean, just like it was for you. So it's hard. We don't even know what it's like without being a twin.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
I mean,
He can tell you.
yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it first happens, you don't. It's disbelief, and you actually feel so connected. There's like a connection there, like we've already said. It's
Yeah.
almost tangible, but it's not. And you can't explain it.
Yeah.
It felt like it lingered. Like when he died that
Yeah.
night, I found out he died, and it was a horrific night.
Yeah.
But like there was like a sense of calm over me
And that
compared
was
to
him,
everybody
probably. And it
else.
was him probably.
And I was like, no, guys, he's like with me.
Isn't that
That's
great?
awesome.
That's
And then it
crazy.
was like he was so with me at night I couldn't sleep because I was scared. I was
Yeah.
like, he's gonna show up.
Oh. Well,
Like he's gonna come.
Oh,
He
God.
would
out my
have. He would have
room.
popped out from under beds.
And I was
He
like,
would've-
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
sleep. Like, there's gonna be a ghost up in here.
Yeah.
So we used to have conversations when we were kids, or even in our teen years, and we would like talk about like what if one of us goes first? And we would just always this conversation came up more than once, and we would just stop talking. Like we did not want to even talk about it or think
Yeah.
about it, and not to rub it in again. Jeez, sorry.
No,
But
that'd
no,
be the
no,
theme of
So
the
far,
episode.
I'm Logan. I'm still back here. If you forgot,
Yeah, you're dropping
Oh.
shit left and right back there. Fans.
I'm just grateful. I don't have a twin.
I
So
grew
far,
up.
I'm like no twins.
I grew up really jealous of you, Sam, with Jake, and always having a brother around. I am so relieved that I don't have a twin.
It's in
Holy
that vein
fuck.
of like, is it better to love
Yeah.
or to never loved at
Yeah.
all? Like,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Have two twins ever lived happily ever after together? Divorced, dead? What do we?
That's
Is
a
there
good
a
question.
silver lining to any of this?
Yeah.
So far, it's these two. So
Yeah,
far,
for-
are-
for all our listeners, if anybody knows twins that are happy, married, employed, and alive, let us know because the jury's out.
we need some data points
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I will say we're doing like I drink coffee. He does not. So
No.
if
Let's talk more about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah,
I don't like to spend my mornings on the toilet.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
Okay.
I will say this. So we
Mark, do you have another tight 45 on coffee? Let's hear it.
we actually were part of a twin study through WashU for 20 years or
yeah,
something like that.
So
It's the closest you can get to Wash U, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't, yeah, they don't allow us there anymore.
yeah.
But anyway,
They let him cut the grass.
so
Right.
so we had to fill out a questionnaire though initially, or whatever. We didn't figure this out until years later, that they filled all this stuff, family history, all this stuff. And so then they fly us up to Minneapolis. They pay our airfare, put us up in a hotel for a weekend. They want to put us in at the University of Minnesota, all these scans. And we're like, Jesus Christ. And then we realized we filled out this questionnaire. Our dad was an alcoholic. Our mom was bipolar. They're like, what the fuck?
Where
yeah,
this is
you
a
two were a
case-
gold
Yeah,
mine.
this is a case
Yeah,
study.
they were
in-
flying people in from Vienna and putting them in a theater, looking at you fucking freaks.
So then finally, we finally quit because I'm sick of getting my head scanned. I don't know if there's any permanent
Yeah.
damage. I mean,
They're in an operating theater with a pool table in the middle,
Yeah.
and these two fucking
Yeah.
idiots. It's just sorting their differences
It's
out.
about to be an episode of
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah,
I know.
8-ball corner pocket, Mark.
Yeah.
Stranger Thing 1 and 2.
But we did find out that the purpose of the study was and I think it's still going on. It was like a grant that went on for years, but I think it was to find out if alcohol dependency was nurture versus nature or something like that.
those lines.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
What happens if
Gotcha.
both of you love and have a severe alcohol dependency? Does that? Did
that's
you
a good
win
question.
this? Did you win or?
I
Yeah.
I think it's free
Well,
tuition.
Yeah, we might find out what the results are eventually. I don't know, but yeah, we finally are like, we need to quit scanning our brains and probing us. So
no, I told you guys in text that Jake and I were doing the same not the same, a WashU twin study.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they took our saliva and everything, and so my parents were really cool. Having a 6-7-year-old just give away their DNA like that.
Good Jesus.
And for $100.
Right.
Were your parents in the room during these tests?
Yeah. And no, that was through the mail.
Yeah.
And you filled out the survey, and I remember, Jake getting a call back, and they're like, Jake said he smokes cigars. And I was like, I don't know. We were probably 8 or 9. I don't know. And they called back a couple years later and do you still smoke cigars? And what did you say on that survey, Jake?
Yeah. They asked me if I still eat gobstoppers. I'm like, no,
no more gobstoppers.
No more gobstoppers.
Yeah. I blame Jake for never getting a call back. They're like, this guy's lying.
Yeah. Wait till they call back and they're like, is the cigar one here still? And you're like, no, he's dead.
Yeah. And they really missed a really good study.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Cigars kill.
Yeah. Talk about big tobacco.
Yeah. You mean Stogie?
Yeah.
Jake really was all about setting them off the trail.
That's
He's
the
like,
real message of Team Jakey is that cigars will make you kill yourself.
Oh my God!
So don't smoke cigars, kids.
I feel so bad. I just think you think your mother right now listening to this, but she's been around long enough where she knows all this. But I mean,
yeah, she remembers when Jake was smoking cigars.
Yeah. Who do you think was buying them? He was putting them on the grocery list next to queef cakes. Have you guys heard that story?
No.
Which is a real
Queef
story.
cakes?
Yeah. What was the? There was always grocery lists, at our house growing up. Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
My mom would write a grocery list down on the coffee table or on the kitchen table. And one time, there's cupcakes, there's bread, there's milk, and Jake wrote on there queef cakes.
did it mean something else, or he just
Queef
thought
cakes.
it was funny?
Queef cakes.
And he's like, let's see. So my mom went to the grocery store, probably Render's,
And asked,
Bless her heart. She was at
and
Riverview Dairy.
and she's walking around and she's asking, hey, where can I find I'm in the cake
The hostess
aisle area, there's Entenmann's, where can I find queef cakes?
Oh my God!
And they're like, I don't know. And she's walking around asking
Yeah.
for queef cakes.
Is that to a novelty shop?
Yeah.
You'll get them there.
If there's
you
ever
gotta
a
go
mother
to-
that would do that, your mom was just excellent mom, wanted to do so much for her kids, and that I can just see her doing that.
She probably went to a secondary
I was
location.
going to say she probably
There's
went.
a chance she's like, great, now I got to go to Schnucks.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or has it? She's still looking for
Yeah.
queef cakes to this day.
Well, she used to do the thing with you guys where she'd have a day where you just, I want you to stay home from school, right?
Yeah, my wife had perfect attendance or close to it in high school.
Which sort of we, I think.
And I was like, good for you. That's great. My mom did the opposite. She'd be like, wake us up. And she'd be like, hey, you're sick today? You seem sick. I think you want to stay home? And we're like, yeah. Oh my God. Yes. I'm so sick.
That's great.
And we would watch the Today Show and
That's awesome.
Price is Right.
That's awesome.
and,
Yeah.
we'd stay home. And, but we were smart and smart enough, I should say. And Jake was smart enough to cheat off of me to make that happen.
Yeah. That's funny.
And I'll do the same thing with my kid as soon as he crosses the line, though. Price is Right.
I think he's crossed that line. I think
He's probably already crossed the line.
He's selling shares of Price is Right he doesn't have yet.
Yeah, those were good times. So yeah, that sounds like you guys had a fairly similar upbringing.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this. I mean, in my tie into what we're eventually talk about, but without my mom being bipolar and really going through some struggles through high school and all that stuff. I mean, looking back, I can't imagine what that would have been like dealing with myself. I mean, we were the oldest. We kind of dealt with all that kind of stuff. Just all the stuff that came with that. Yeah, that would have been pretty rough if it was just on one person as the oldest person.
How old do you guys remember being when it got noticeable?
Well, we knew that just to give you a little backdrop on my mom, she was 14 when her dad was diagnosed with leukemia. It was they call it a child's form of leukemia. And they had told her and her sister and my grandma that, it's basically terminal. He could live 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. He died 2 weeks to the day. And she actually witnessed, I don't know the details, but she witnessed him hemorrhaging out at some point, which was traumatic, clearly, for a 14-year-old girl to see her dad do that. And she had a lot of postpartum depression when me and Mark were like 2 or 3. Brian was born. He's 3 years younger than us.
I'd be pretty depressed. If
Yeah,
I
I would be depressed. Yeah,
I
exactly,
know.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of.
Well, and then
Really?
one time my dad came home from work one day. Like Brian we had crapped ourselves. I think we were about 16. No, I'm
Yeah.
joking. No, we were.
This is the day he was joking. in the grocery.
No, we were 3, and Brian was a baby. He's screaming his head off. My mom's in bed, and my dad's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I can't do this." And she was just paralyzed with postpartum depression. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so it was one of those things where there was bouts where I remember growing up as kids where she'd be in bed all weekend, or and then I know that she went back to work full time when we were probably in 3rd or 4th grade or something. And my brother Paul was born 8 years after us, so I know she went back to work full time after that. And it was interesting. She was a medical assistant. She loved helping people. She was just so sweet and very generous and loved people. And we just noticed that we knew looking back, it's more clear now, but she would come home a lot of the time and she would talk about like how badly she was treated at the office, whether it was coworkers or patients that she was working with. And it would just be like, she would harp on these things. And then it was she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder right when a little after she turned 40,
right after her sister passed.
Right after her sister passed from cancer, and it was her only sister. And so I just know that that's when we noticed more of the drastic mood swings, where she was completely just a different person. It went from being depressed here and there to actually having like a different personality, someone we didn't recognize.
And this is just after 40?
This was just after 40 when she was diagnosed, and she went through, she had a psychiatrist that was treating her. So they started her on a lot of heavy psychotropic drugs like lithium and things of that nature. And
shock treatments.
Shock treatments. She went through a lot of really aggressive treatments to try to get her moods balanced, and
she'd have good runs, but there's a manipulation involved with it. So she was able to manipulate her medication to be up a high. So she would be up for 3 days doing laundry, getting the house, and then she'd crash for 2 days.
She's like on speed.
And then when she
do you still have any of that?
Yeah.
Did those go with her? Did you hold on to those?
Yes, yeah, they did. But yeah, so I mean, that was. Here's the thing. I mean, a lot of people think that people that struggle with mental health is a weakness. She was a very strong person. I mean, it is. She had OCD. She would get up every morning at like 5:30 to iron our school clothes. Who gives a shit? But she could not.
Is my mom okay?
You get up and iron in their socks.
She'd be on
while you were wearing them.
Yeah.
She was definitely putting them on for me.
Yes. Well, my mom would sit there like with the pillows like on the couch with fuzz. She'd pick every little piece of fuzz off, and then
while there's like 300 Hot Wheels on the floor.
Yes.
But yeah, but going through high school with Mark and I, and just kind of going back to him talking about how we, relied heavily on each other, it was difficult because she would go through these ups and downs with her mood. A lot of the things weren't getting done around the house, and my dad was always busy because of the nature of his job, and he was, like to go up to the bar a lot, so he was gone most evenings. And
this was not going to drink itself.
Yeah, no. So, so we were at home a lot, and really kind of took on a lot of responsibilities of the household when we were, when we had 2 younger brothers, and we had a really good childhood upbringing, but these were parts of it that
we didn't realize weren't normal.
We just didn't realize this isn't normal, and there was a lot of responsibility that kind of we took on.
Shouldered.
Yeah, we shouldered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
taking the brothers to soccer practice and their games, and then laundry and
I remember my Aunt Joanne, who's going through chemotherapy after my mom had what they thought was maybe an attempted suicide attempt. She went up to our place up in Ellsbury, and they were scared to death because they didn't know what she was going to do, and it was before cell phones, and here my aunt's at our house, undergoing cancer treatment, showing Mark how to do laundry, showing me how to. I mean, it was like
that's a lot.
It was a lot.
That's a lot. I'm starting to think that the cement factory might have had something to do with this right next to your house.
It might have been. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so like that. And then plus my dad being the mayor,
there was obligations there.
But it was also like we have to put on a show. We have to make ourselves look like
can't let the tabloids get a hold of it.
We can't get exactly. That North County Journal.
Scathing.
Can't be on there.
Scathing.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's one of those things where I remember distinctly there. I don't know if your brother Steve remembers this, but there was my mom would, we would carpool, and she would picked up Steve, and I think Steve was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we picked up another person, and it was Ryan.
Yeah.
And Ryan was coming out of the house. My mom was in a mood, and he was taking a little bit longer, and he gets in the car and she blasts him like, who, I need to get to work. Who do you think you are? You're just taking your damn old time. Like literally like just laid into it. And he's like a 15-year-old kid.
Who was this?
This was Ryan Bear. And
I was gonna say Bear.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he remembers this or whatever, but Mark and I were mortified. And she went on from his house to Rosary, the entire just blasting us all.
She was doing a play-by-play, remember?
Yeah,
I'm gonna it was like she was having a psychotic moment.
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna make a left turn. I'm gonna make a right turn. We're like, Jesus Christ.
And
Just a little color commentary.
Play-by-play drive to school. Yeah.
And on top
Seems
of
like she
it,
might have missed a calling.
Yeah,
exactly. Not gonna lie.
And on top of it, to make things worse, she's driving like a 25-foot Cadillac that was, erratically down Belfast Road. Yeah. And not just that, it was a huge boat. But anyway,
I imagine it's one of those steering wheels that you just keep turning.
Real loose. Thought of play in the steering wheel.
Yeah,
exactly. But I remember getting to school, getting dropped off, and I remember Ryan was like, "What was that?" And me and Mark were like,
"You were like, you took your sweet ass fucking time getting out of the house."
Welcome to our world, in terms of dealing with that. But I just have to say, like, it's the bipolar disorder for her. The massive mood swings. When you knew she was okay was when she cared about people. How are you doing? What's going on? She asked about other people. When it was truly, when she was manic, the experience was, it was all about her. Mm-hmm. Everybody was against her, and that was kind of the barometer to determine how difficult was it on her at that moment in time.
I can remember at the luncheon after Jake's funeral, your dad came up and was like, how's your, he pulled me aside. He's like, how's your mom doing? I go, she's doing actually good this week. I go, with everything going on, and I didn't even know what I was saying. With everything going on, she has a focus to care about. And he goes, well, I'm glad we could help your mom out this week. With your dad saying this about, I'm glad Jake could help your mom out this week. Whatever.
Yeah, we want to take the wins.
Yes,
exactly. Where we can get them.
This is actually kind of related. So when the morning we found out that Jake passed, we were at work.
Where were you at?
I was at work.
We still haven't ruled you guys out as suspects. So.
Where were you at 7
right now?
p.m. on December 8th?
Yeah. So we call each other. We both left. We can't let mom and dad, we want to tell them, we don't want them to find out from somewhere else or whatever. So, so we go there, and they're obviously devastated. And we took my dad had gotten diagnosed with Parkinson's, and we took him down to Quick Trip to get a coffee. Yeah, he was shaking. Yeah. So we went down to the Quick Trip, gave him a coffee, and he just burst out crying on Bellefonte Road. Like, why couldn't it be me? I'm near the end of my life, and he's just such a young kid, and all this stuff forever. So anyway, so we get them settled back in, and we go back. And so me and Matt are walking out of the house, and we're like, when we opened the front door, was Mom laying under the table?
Under the table?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
Yeah, what was? So what she did was, and this is how she would her medicine be so screwed up, she would just kind of pass out wherever she was.
Yeah.
So she was sitting on the floor going through mail, and she just passed out under the table. Yeah. But it was so normal to us, we didn't notice.
Didn't register. Yeah.
And this was.
This is the day your brother
from the news, or just in general?
No, just in general. Okay. Yeah, and she had.
Your mom didn't care that much, I guess.
She was like, "All right, I'm going back to chair."
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna lay on the floor I was going to do.
No,
you didn't see me sleeping under this.
Right. Well, of course, when we walked in, she knew something was wrong, or whatever. But it was just so funny because
just laying on
was Mom under the table? Yeah, she was. Yeah.
But it was funny when she was had the highs of bipolar. Like, she'd get all focused and excited. She came up to me and Mark one time. We were in high school. She's like, "Hey guys, can I borrow $5,000?" And we're like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, in high school. We're in high school." She's like, "I bought a bedroom set, and I don't want your father to find out about it." I'm like, I realize he gets home a lot after dark, but I think eventually he's going to know there's a new
poster bed
on it in his back. Yeah, in his bedroom.
And you're like, "That's our tuition money."
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. And we were but we gave it to her. She bought it, and
well, then the other time
it was like we gave it to her because
good to see you.
We did not want to. we wanted her to
stay high and
and to satisfy that.
So
that
in her defense, the way
Yeah.
your dad treated the tavern, she could have just not said anything.
that's true.
Oh,
he
I
probably
agree.
wouldn't have noticed.
That's
right,
true.
exactly.
But the
exactly.
other thing was the first time she got institutionalized, she's in with the behavioral health unit for a week, and she calls us like on day 3. She's like, "Hey, I don't think they had like an auto trader or something." She's like, "Hey, I want to buy this cutlass," and we're like, "What are you talking about?" So me and Matt went and bought it so she could drive it.
we wanted to
You know, she wasn't allowed tennis
wanted
shoelaces,
to
and you guys
cutlass
got her
anyway.
cutlass.
yeah.
Well, we bought it for ourselves. We're like, you can drive it because we didn't want her. My dad had to refinance the house twice because
The
she
credit
had
card
run
bill,
up the credit
yeah.
card bills. So, that's another symptom of bipolar, So we would find shit or 6-disc CD players, around
my
the back
God.
room.
You
of
were
the
like
basement.
fucking sweet.
Like, what is going on?
Every day was St. Nick's house, and you
Yeah.
wanted it to be.
Yeah.
You just had to look.
Just had to look in the
Yeah.
right
Look
drawer.
around.
So that was the other thing. I mean, I'll be honest.
Mark, I got another one.
But part of it was we were afraid that they'd get divorced,
Yeah.
and I mean easily people have gotten divorced for a lot less. I mean
Mhm.
they just when they were oh yeah. Sorry, no offense.
Stepping away from that one.
But anyway, that was kind of one of the reasons why we were so invested in trying to keep the peace wherever we could, and keep things.
You didn't
going,
need 2 Christmases. You
You're
were already
like,
getting
listen.
Christmas every
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Exactly.
Your mom would
yeah.
order a bunch
Yeah.
of
If
shit.
it takes
Yeah.
a cutlass, it takes a cutlass.
Exactly. One year, though, speaking of Christmas, one year, Brian didn't get gifts.
Yeah.
We're opening gifts from Santa. Brian
So Santa also had
Santa forgot
bipolar.
to buy Brian gifts, and I'll never forget it. And my dad's looking at my mom, Tina. What about Brian? She's just like, she couldn't put it together, and so he goes into his bedroom.
Give him the cutlass.
Yeah. he comes out back and gives Brian a $300 check. We're like, I mean,
Santa got a check. You guys got 8 Hot Wheels.
Exactly. I'm like, I appealed. This
You're
is
like,
ridiculous.
I'd like a recount.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't fair. This is equitable.
But then when my dad got diagnosed with Parkinson's, it kind of refocused her for a bit, but their medical conditions were completely incompatible. I mean,
Yeah.
Shaky and screamy.
Yeah.
It's like Itchy and Scratchy from
Yeah.
The Simpsons. but Shaky and screamy, just
Yeah.
chasing each other around the
I
house.
can remember we
We
saw
got a
your
half
dad.
hour before I cut you.
Oh.
As I cut you off, half hour left. We're doing good on time.
Okay,
Great.
cool.
Just want to let you guys know.
But we right after my dad got diagnosed, we were at a wedding and your dad comes out. I'll never forget this. Your dad, we're on the church steps and your dad goes to my dad and starts shaking. Hey, Marty, starts shaking his hand. He wouldn't quit shaking the hand. And then we realized he was making fun of the Parkinson's. My dad was laughing his ass off.
Damn, Marty, let go of my hand.
Doing this number, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, but anyway, but I will say this, but my dad had to have his medicine every 4 hours. So each one of us boys had to pick the time where we would call to make
Make
mom
sure,
would-
yeah.
sometimes they wouldn't answer. We
Yeah.
found out years later too.
You know how hard it is to get out from underneath a kitchen table? You ever been sound asleep under a dining room set?
Especially when your husband's sitting on top of you.
Yeah.
Tina, I
He's
can't
like,
move.
Tina.
Yeah, you missed the meds. I can't move. I mean, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, they really went through a lot. I mean, there was, if he, she told me one time that, I asked her one time, I said, when she was going through some stuff and I said, I don't know what you're going through, but I bet you're thinking right now that, I been married to this guy all these years. He was at the bar a lot. I raised these kids. I went through all these mental problems and now this fucker gets Parkinson's and I'm sitting here, hauling him to the bathroom at 2 a.m, falling. She had to get she had a torn meniscus, like all this stuff that people
I know
don't.
those well.
Yeah. And so she goes, yeah, because I'm resentful for that. She admitted that, and I go, I totally get it, and
You're like, I resent both my parents. You don't have to tell me.
Try being me.
Yeah. You're like, well,
I
Mom,
mean,
I
it's
hate
sad.
both of you.
yeah. And we used to call him shake and baked.
Old shake and bake.
But yeah, but she was like, honestly, she was just they both were great people, like really cared about everybody and they would do anything for you. And my mom was such a giver, like she would just be very thoughtful and
Lucky Marty.
Yeah.
Lucky Marty.
But one thing that she did was, I'll never forget, it was so funny. She would always give really thoughtful gifts if she remembered. But anyway,
Yeah.
Except for to her son.
Except for Brian.
Yeah.
But the one thing was, we were dying. This is when we were all married. We had wives, and the wives start opening up the gifts they get.
Mm-hmm.
My one sister-in-law got an engraved frame which had their wedding date on it, but it was the frame that they gave my parents to showcase their wedding picture in it. So it was a re-gift back to my sister-in-law, which was interesting.
Mhm.
My other sister-in-law proceeds to get a date book for the year before, and it had my mom's doctor's appointments in it. So I used like
Calendar.
It was nice, but
It was a really expensive date
really
book.
nice, yeah. But it had all my mom's personal appointments from the previous.
So it was full. There were a lot of doctor's appointments in there.
Exactly.
There wasn't an empty page in it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Tuesday's shock treatment.
Yeah, submersion therapy, shock treatment, pick Marty up. It was a whole lot.
Exactly.
Buy Cutlass.
My sister was like, I didn't
Yeah.
sign up for this.
Yeah.
What is going on?
My wife got a cloth hanger.
Yeah,
And we're like,
yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
I mean, they got more than they signed up for. Believe me. I mean, it's just
The
daughters-in-law.
Yes,
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
it's just
they
yeah.
they would do anything, but
At least you guys never had to like purchase them like one of those hotel shaking beds.
Oh
Yeah.
Your mom just
Yeah.
already
Well,
knew.
we
Yeah.
figured out my mom apparently we suspect that she used to give my dad a sleeping pill and a Viagra, and he would just
Just climb aboard.
Real
Yeah.
combo.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was by pull.
Yeah, yeah. A little St. Jerome Sibian action going on over there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I was gonna say self-serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh gosh, yeah.
goodness. But yeah, no, that was always. But yeah, it's funny to look back, and it's fun. It's fun to just think about those funny stories because in the moment you're just like mortified, but when you look back, you're like, that was hilarious. You know?
Yeah.
If you look at this on paper, you sit back and you go, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
Like,
you guys are
this-
fucked on paper.
Right.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you go back all the way, I mean, that you were. I was joking earlier when I said I don't know which death we're on, but it's a lot. There was a lot in there. You
Yeah.
know, for a lot of different things
Sure.
at a lot of or pretty early,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's a lot. That's a lot to shoulder and handle at an early age. You know, you're 18 through whatever, and that's something, and that's what this is about. Is like, it's clear that humor
Oh yeah.
has been
Oh,
absolutely.
easy
Yeah.
come back to.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel the same way that it's something. It's not for everybody, but
Right,
it's
right.
something
Mhm.
that
Well, I mean, I remember even like my dad's eulogy. Was not the priest did not appreciate it, but we had
Yeah.
so many.
Did you
people-
prepare it? I want to read it. I want to hear it today.
We,
I
but
do
we
forget
we
it.
did, but what we did, but we had so many people come up and they're like, "Your dad would have laughed his ass off." And like, who gives
Yeah,
a shit? I
exactly.
mean, and
What was the over under on the shaky jokes?
we didn't do anything like that. We
I do remember the one comment.
Wasn't
where
as on the nose as that. Like our humor's way better than that.
Yeah.
That's lowbrow.
one of my brother, Brian, said that the only thing he could fix was a ticket, and then my other brother said that the heaviest thing he lifted was 12 ounces. So yeah, but I mean, he would have loved those. I mean, he was always
Yeah.
self-deprecating and would have loved those.
and
funny
and my kids get mad because when they complain about stuff and I'll say like things can always be worse, and it's true. But
Your
I mean,
mom
that
could
doesn't-
forget Christmas.
Right.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean that people don't have the right to complain about anything. But I had a Larry actually told us one time. He said things. He said things aren't. People say things aren't always as bad as they seem, but at the same time, they're not always as good as they seem too. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, in this day and age.
yeah.
Never.
No. So, but I will say, a lot of things we've learned, especially like with mental health, is like, the person has to want help too. I mean, it's
It's somewhat of a two-way
it
street
is,
there.
and you can only do so much. And one of the biggest struggles was when my mom, after my dad passed, and then she went into assisted living, and then she basically her bipolar morphed into just extreme anxiety, almost like a hermit. And she had a good like retirement income. She could have like had fun. She was a recluse. She never wanted to leave. She never wanted to really do any activities. She basically just sat in this little room and existed basically. And then but even when she passed, I mean, she quit eating. She didn't pass for like 16 days. It was like finally we're like looking at our watches,
Yeah,
like let's
Jesus,
get this
yeah.
over with.
But the problem is there was nothing wrong with her.
Yeah,
Other
there-
than I mean, physically,
she failed to thrive.
it was
She just
her-
she gave up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
done existing. And like, we had we started wearing her clothes around the place. I mean, just like taking pictures, and we're giving the family update. I mean, just I
And
don't know.
speaking of your mom, I have to get this out because I want to say, for the record, I was the first to give you guys somewhat of condolences on your mom. It just happened to be about a year earlier.
Oh gosh.
And these are a couple text messages for the listener that I felt terrible about at the time. This is
my
Max
gosh.
and I at a
This was a
corner.
we
We were at a golf tournament, and
This
we
is
are
great.
8 sheets to the win. And the opening text is to the twins.
At the time,
This is in
You're
July
8
19th, 2025.
So
you were
Year
8
ago.
sheets to the win.
at the time. At
Yeah.
the time, yes,
Yeah.
I was on a golf course, a tournament. So I was
This is
pickled,
great.
and it says,
We were.
This is how I open up.
Little
the-
background. We were in the cart, and I don't remember what brought it on, but I was like, "She's not with us anymore, right?" About your mom.
And I
And
go,
he was
no,
like, "No, she."
That's
I go,
what she
is
was
she?
at.
I go, I'll just ask. I'm pretty sure she's not. And I said, the text verbatim, is your mom passed away? Right? Like, I'm telling them. I'm right.
Yeah.
Right?
Should we just act this out?
Yeah.
Why don't we just?
All right, here
you
we go.
read your part. Now read. Yeah.
Is your mom passed away? Right?
Not yet. She wishes she was.
Oh, shit. My bad. Really? I've been drinking and haven't heard you guys make jokes about her lately. So I just assumed that I didn't remember.
Yeah, she's been in assisted living for 8 years now. She had a serious decline over the past few months. She's honestly miserable. She told me yesterday she wished she was dead.
Oh, that's brutal.
We don't wait for anyone to be dead before making fun of them, though.
My grandma. My grandma said that for 10 years to a 12-year-old.
Aw, she looks 90. It's sad. I was talking about my mom.
Yeah.
I've seen her naked a lot lately, so now I wish I were dead. I'm terrible.
And then I took the phone and said, "So does Paul Stanley. He's still selling out arenas," because I, as a child, always thought your mom had a striking resemblance to Paul Stanley, the lead singer of the band Kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. I say rough, though. Tough cards. How's your dad taking it? Probably really shaken up.
Indeed. Their headstone reads shake and baked.
Okay, me and Max are done. That is a
That's
conversation that happened. What? That was 2025.
There was
in
a
the summer.
callback in there with the shake and bake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a
Yeah.
common,
Yeah.
I remember having that text message with you and feeling so terrible. I was like, just drunk enough where I was like, dude,
Well,
I could have sworn I just didn't, like, I drank this memory away.
Yeah.
That
Either
is
at that moment,
hysterical.
like, I'm sure I haven't heard them two joke about their mom.
Yeah. So, Mac, when did your dad pass away? What month was it?
This year it'll be 2 years. August 21st.
So
Yeah.
we didn't go to the service that night because we were meeting with her. She was institutionalized. Like, that was probably the worst one.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, she had a suicide attempt. She tried to jump off the balcony at her Twin Oaks place or whatever.
but it was the first floor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she would have broke a leg maybe. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
but
Well,
telling the story about
oh, this was absolutely so. Like, just to kind of, when you have several years of dealing with somebody with mental illness, especially with my mom, who had so many different things that she had to go with. So, my kids, unfortunately, we grew up with one grandma who we loved and adored. My 3 other grandparents were gone. So we always looked forward to my parents being great grandparents for our kids. And unfortunately, the cards were not there because they both have their mental struggles. So our kids did not have a relationship with my mom or my dad. So it was like they just kind of knew that they were there in the backdrop, but they just unfortunately did not have a closeness or a meaningful relationship. So this kind of story illustrates kind of just how, I don't know what the word is.
speed it up.
Oh, thanks, Marty. Anyway, so we're on the boat sitting in the Mississippi, and we get a call from the Twin Oaks, and it's the nurse, and she's like, hey, this is serious. Your mom, she just tried to jump off the balcony. We've got her in her room, but a resident or a visitor of the resident noticed that she was climbing up on a chair and was ready to go over, and she got caught, so she got scared and ran back to her room.
And you're like, I'm on the boat right now.
Yeah.
Can I call you later?
I have a bad signal. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Well, it sounds like it was a near miss.
Yeah.
right.
Well, thank goodness she's here.
Yeah, so we're sitting there, and I tell everybody in the boat, and we're stunned. Well, my son Luke's out on the jet ski, so he comes up as we're just kind of like absorbing this information.
We're kind of shocked because usually people that talk about it don't ever do it. And then we're like, oh shit. Like, oh shit, this
She
is
actually
real.
fell through this time. She's had suicidal ideations. in the
So you
past,
guys were
but-
proud of her.
but
You
we
were like, finally,
she
should have got off the
she
bot,
finally
Tina.
did it. So we were just stunned. So Luke pulls up to the boat, and my daughter goes, "Luke, Mama tried to commit suicide." She's like, "Are you serious? Did you guys see how fast I was going?" And we all just busted out laughing because we were like, it was so just.
He's like, I got this up to 58, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is crazy or whatever. But
So you guys didn't come
Um,
to my dad's funeral because you were fucking jet skiing?
No.
Moral
we were at St. Mary's
yeah, behavioral health.
Yes. Meeting with
Which
the-
is
it's
when you
awful.
visit somebody that is institutionalized, that I it is awful. I mean, to see people and their surroundings in that type of atmosphere, and
everybody's pants are falling down.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
can't have belts.
it's terrible. Yeah, and it's like, that movie Overboard when she's like, "Eat your checkers." It's like that's kind of that was a beauty compared to this place. I mean, it just was so sad.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of geriatric behavioral health places in the area.
No, I think there's
I think maybe one.
It's an underserved.
Yes.
Well, they're old, so
it is. It is.
We can say like partner Provident. We had a meeting with them recently where that's a focus. That's part of the.
Yeah, they do a call out to individuals who are isolated.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They reach out weekly.
That's
awesome.
That's the people who receive the call the cops because they're getting phone calls after dark.
Right.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
No, there is. We're going in the right direction. We hope, at least in the St. Louis area.
Yeah, that's so important because even mental health care in general. Could solve so many problems.
And we talked about it earlier. It's like there's only so much we can do.
Yes.
As individuals, I like to think that happy, like we bring happiness, and humor. I think that brought to more people, especially within the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can change lives. I think Logan mentioned it on our last podcast, or I forget where we were talking. That incremental. The idea of incremental support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be this big aha moment, but like just touch bases or encounters with individuals that have maybe a different outlook on grief, or
people who can see it from underneath the table.
Yes. Right. Yes. Exactly.
Just have a different mindset of and bring happiness. That still, happiness still exists.
Right.
Despite all the tribulations and obstacles in your way.
Right.
And I think that's an important. I think that's what we're trying to do with like this podcast.
No, absolutely, and I think that
say good things about it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a wonderful.
Now talk about how good we are.
But I think that one of the things that knowing my mom's history and maybe not knowing all the details of what she's gone through, now that she's gone, we feel more comfortable telling her story. It wasn't that we were ashamed or anything like that. It just felt a little awkward when you have a living parent and it's their story. And, there's people know that she has struggles, but to go into more detail and about that was one thing when we eulogized her. We talked about the shock treatments and the psychotropic drugs and all the different struggles that she had, the suicide attempt, and
you don't waste material like that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. We were trying to bring that house down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, the acoustics.
This is all going to be new.
Right. Exactly. But the one thing too is that, it's one of those things where I think that, understanding that it doesn't have to always be on you. I think that I will never forget there was a social worker. We were fairly young with both our parents having their health problems where we had little kids at home. And there was a social worker that took us aside. And it was when my mom was institutionalized once. And she said, you all have little kids at home. She's like, that's your focus. She goes, I know it's natural to feel like you have to take care of your mom and take care of your dad. She's like, but you have to understand there's limits to what you can do. And the person has to want to get the help. And if you're putting that pressure on yourself, that you feel like you are the only answer to your mom getting better, that's, you're really wasting your time. And you really make sure that you understand what outlets there are out there to help your mom and that's why we're here. And I'll never forget that because it changed my approach to, feeling so guilty and feeling like, oh my gosh, what can I do?
Yeah.
So,
and the scary thing is that, just from a higher level, every time I see a homeless person, I think that could have been my mom if she didn't have 4 boys that
absolutely
support. Because the homeless are most likely suffering from some type of mental illness.
And you still don't give them any change. You really had problems with your mom, didn't you, buddy?
No, but had you guys casted your mom aside or forgot about her and said, hey mom, you're moving here or we're moving out,
right?
Good luck.
Well, and that was very humbling for a lot of us, even with my dad in the nursing home and then my mom. I could not believe how many people would overly praise us for being there. And they're like, you don't understand. A lot of these people don't have family members that visit at all, or they don't. And they're like, or they just, they'll just live their best life and they're going to move across the country and they don't care. And it just, that's just foreign to me. I can't picture that, in my mind, but it was just, we would have that conversation all the time. Like, I can't believe that there's so many people that even are in a nursing home or whatever that just
it doesn't have to be mental illness. It could be old age.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so it's just, it's very sad. I think it's very important. Relationships are very important, and social interaction is very important, and so I think COVID taught that a lot to people. I think these stupid phones that we're on all the time really kind of affect that a lot, and I
except when you're listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
Keep listening, don't turn it off yet.
Yeah.
But I
say something funny and catching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, it's just when you're talking about like dealing with the humor, that was kind of how we were programmed. But at the same time, I don't want and I know we don't want to make light of all this.
Yeah.
These are all still serious issues
this is a perspective.
Oh, 100%.
Not a rule book or a playbook on how to do
and believe
it.
me, like you got sometimes you got to know your audience too, and sometimes I feel like a lot of the people we grew up with get it. Obviously, it was like we kind of came from the same cloth, but then if like. There's been times, I've made a off the cuff remark or something or whatever. And even my wife's had to say like, hey, no, don't like, it's, he's just joking. It's not, and it's just, it's just one of those things that, it's kind of our normal, but at the same time, it's just a coping mechanism, I mean, so.
And it works for you guys.
Yeah. And I think
so if it doesn't work for other people, that's not your problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I think also too, like just going through challenges in life, I think that's a common thing where people are like, how do you do it? And people just do it. You just do the best you can. Sometimes, you might not have the resources you need, but you try to get through it as best you can. But I think going through the challenges and confronting these types of things, it does make you have gratitude for, your loved ones and for people that really do care. And also
makes you appreciate the same ones.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think also just, I think that when you're older, you go through a lot of challenges, you get more wisdom and you understand like, oh, if you have a challenge after, you're like, yeah, I'll get through this. I got through it before, and I think that sometimes people don't have that perspective yet, maybe because they just don't understand. There's no way out, so they don't understand that, hey, you're going to be fine. But if they don't have the support, it's easy to feel that way,
Yeah.
So
we are tight on time, but there were 2 questions that we really did want to get to with you guys.
Great.
We're not that tight on time. What's our out?
We can record to 6:40.
Okay.
Heck yeah. We're no longer
funniest
tight on
thing that's
time.
ever happened to you guys at a funeral. And if you guys want to take
what was the question?
Funniest thing that's ever happened to them at a funeral.
Oh my
Doesn't
gosh.
have to be your own
Oh,
parents.
dude, there's
And if
one
you
that
need
just
a
came up
second-
that was pretty funny.
If you need a second, I
That
can
doesn't
tell
have to be
mine.
yours.
Go ahead and tell yours. 'Cause
So
I'm trying to think. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Tell yours.
I have 2. One at my grandma's funeral. My grandma had diabetes. She was a 4'8" Albanian woman.
She started 5 something.
Yeah,
Died at 4'8".
She was a classy gal. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and her
She was
feet
great.
looked like a lady who had diabetes and was in her 80s.
Mhm.
And the heart monitor might have just stopped beeping. They might have just turned it off. She was very, very freshly passed. And I believe it was Alex looked over and said, well, poor grandma, her feet died 8 years before she did.
Oh.
So fast forward.
Alex said that?
Yeah, the funniest thing she's ever
Did you
said.
call a tow truck?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
fast
one
forward,
of the funniest things Alex
fast
ever
forward to the
said for
funeral.
sure.
Sam and I are carrying. We're pallbearers. We're carrying her from.
By the way, he forgot the part where I got there late because I was taking engagement photos.
We didn't wait for him.
Did she die at home or at the hospital?
Hospital.
At the hospital, priorities, right? I was getting married, and I was like, "We gotta do these engagement photos."
Your mom was like, "Hold on, mom.
and I was like,
Sam's
"Hold
coming,"
on.
and then it was like, beep.
My sister's like, "Can you get?"
Jake's pulling me in.
Yeah.
My sister's like, "Can you get here soon?" I was like, "Hey, babe, we gotta go." And I was like, "But
Missy's like, "Look
I'm
at this.
starving,
We have to take a
so-
picture in this meadow."
let's crush some McDonald's on the way." But at that point, I'm like, I knew. But tangent. I cried over her for I missed it, and she was a great grandma, literally the best.
Mhm.
And I cried, and then the first thing I did when I got up from like crying over her face and her chest was I lost a contact and literally could not find my contact.
It got buried with her, probably.
Literally anywhere on her body, nowhere near her. I was like, okay, just that contact is gone forever.
Orderlies are coming in, and Sam's like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was like a full hunt. There was like way too many people
and they're
involved.
like, "Sir,
looking
get
for
your
a
hands
contact.
off of the
That's
Like,
deceased."
it wasn't like I was going to put it back in my eye.
Oh
I'm
my
like, we're in a
gosh.
hospital.
You're gonna put it in her eye.
That thing is done.
So at the funeral, we're pallbearers and we're carrying her, and I look over and we're walking towards her final resting place, and I go, she gets to be with her feet again. While we're carrying her to her final resting place.
I'm sure you made eye contact with Alex, and you were like, "Hey, you knew."
We probably have a couple, but when my dad, so when he passed, he didn't have a mustache anymore. He was known; he always had a mustache, you know. And
so
shook it
actually,
off.
all I can.
So we told, look like Burt Reynolds, or El Chapo. People used to see that.
Yeah, he looked a lot like El Chapo.
But we told the funeral.
Sure.
We told the funeral home. We're like, well, he had a mustache. Like we thought they put like a fake one or something.
Like, where'd it go?
So we show up to the funeral home before the wake, and they had cut off the back of his hair and they glued it to his thing. Well, because of the humidity, it got all curly. It looked like he had pubic hair on his head.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God!
I'm positive that he didn't.
Yeah, he looked kind of like the Dunkin' Donut guy too. So we thought we could serve Dunkin' Donuts as a
little
You thought you were
sampler.
Yeah, we were like, can you like shave that down?
Yeah, they took. I don't know what they did. Oh yeah, well, who knows what they did? I don't know.
Yeah,
They took a dirt buster and like sucked it up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you do with the
I
shavings.
don't know if they took like one of those flat hair flat things or whatever. Can you crimp it? I don't
flat
know.
iron.
Something.
Exactly.
But,
Flat iron.
But he had all these little it was just kind of funny or whatever. But
Oh my God!
yeah,
A
so,
permed mustache looks good
yeah.
on him.
Well, the one thing my dad had a great story was when my mom's grandmother passed away. This was before we were born, and she was in her early 90s, and she's in the casket, and my dad and my uncle,
old Italian lady from the old country.
Yeah, old country, laid out, and my dad and my uncle, which they were best friends, are kneeling at the casket, and one of them said to the other, "Wow, they really did a bad job of shaving her mustache." So they start busting out laughing, and they're trying to hold it in. So from behind,
And apparently she had some epic toenails, and they said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
they
I'm
were-
surprised they didn't put her on a perch."
yeah, because of her talents. Yeah. So anyway, so they're like cracking up, and my mom's cousin comes up from behind, and he thinks they're
Chuckling.
crying. Puts his arm down. Oh, we know you loved her
You
so
missed
much,
her.
and you miss her. And they stood up, and they both went out either side of the parlor, and my aunt met him out there and just blasted them, and they were just giggling so hard. I'm like, this is classic. This is
Yeah.
I had at my dad's funeral, I had a lady. So I work with this gentleman, his wife, an older lady, very, very religious, believes that the Lord speaks to her in tongues and only she can understand it.
Okay.
Lovely lady. She comes up to me, sweet, sweet lady. She grabs me by the hands. And at a funeral for a relative, especially a parent, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Everything's a blur. You're on a bunch of Xanax and bourbon and whatever else. You haven't eaten in 3 days. And so, like I said, I'm running around. I'm trying to find my eulogy. And she stops me and she's holding my hands and she's looking up at me and she goes, I just want you to know how sorry I am for your loss. And I'm like, I appreciate that. And she goes, can I pray for you? And I go, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. That would mean a lot. She said, well, I've been speaking to the Lord about you and your family. And I said, that means a lot. She said, so if it's okay, I'd like to pray right now. And I said, of course. She said, what would you like me to pray for? And I go, what do you mean? She's like, well, what do you need? And I'm in the middle of the aisle. There's a line. And I look back at my dad and I go, can you do anything about that? And her husband starts laughing. She way does not. And then I go, if not, just the usual standard, whatever you usually do works. And I just kept on walking.
Can you head down to Arby's and give me a number 8?
Yeah. Can you get
I would say casserole. Casserole would be fine.
exactly. That is great.
Can you get the McRib back on the menu?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It's funny because it's one of those things that it's awkward. Not everybody knows how to. One of the pet peeves I have, and it is what it is, it's not really a big deal, but like when people just say sorry for your loss. Well, I think your loss sounds like so unpersonal. It's like your loss, like it was.
Like you lost your keys.
Or your
French bulldog.
You lost a big game.
Right.
Exactly.
Hey, to be fair,
if they just
grief is grief.
if they just add this, the simple sorry for the loss of your dad, or whatever, at least it makes it personal. But just sorry for your loss. Well, okay.
Or like you lost a good one. We lost a good one.
Yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
I always love to discount their loss. I was like, hey, it's my loss too.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to just I always go for just completely candid in those moments. I'm like, if I'm reaching out about this thing, I'm not gonna like beat around the bush and say like, sorry
Sure.
for your loss. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not some copy and paste. If you're reaching
Exactly.
out, you might as well say something that you think or
Yeah,
feel.
you're right. And
Exactly.
my always favorite thing is when somebody say, "I'll never forget how basically your dad made me feel, your mom did this once, whatever, that was always the good stuff. But
another one's that they're in a better place, which may be true, right? But
that's
like,
one
no,
that's one that I've always hated, because I'm like, well, better would be like at home.
We got that a lot with Jake at 20. He was 24.
Oh,
and I was like, well, I feel like a better place would have been here.
Right.
Yeah.
The other one that I hated was everything happens for a reason. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
I literally said to someone today before we got here, I said, I'm sorry. At least they said it was when we were talking earlier about your mom. And I said, I'm glad she's not suffering anymore. And you go, yeah. And I go, you know what? A better thing to say would be, I'm sorry that she's passed.
Well,
because
you should have said, I'm sorry you guys aren't suffering anymore.
It's like
no, you're happy
that
they're
we
not
all
suffering anymore.
Right.
We are, but it's like we're all suffering. We don't want everyone to die.
But the funny thing is, when you said that to me, the thing that I immediately thought of was
she got what she wanted.
Well, she got what she wanted. But seeing my dad have a demise for 11 years with Parkinson's, my mom having such a demise the last decade of her life with her mental illness, there was a bittersweetness to both of them in the sense that they are no longer suffering. We were legitimately happy for both of them. That sounds bizarre, but we were.
No, I totally get it.
Does that make sense? Like she got what she wanted, and she was at peace with that.
And essentially, we were taking care of a shell of both of them. They were not the parents.
They weren't at their peak. They were very far from their peak.
Yeah.
Well, tell them when Dad passed.
Golden ages are not so golden.
This is a great story when Dad.
Yeah, this is actually my dad was always.
Well, real quick. I was just going to share real quick.
I was going to share something real quick too.
The checklist, though, the wake checklist that we came up with the family that we sent out. We sent out a checklist to the family that beforehand. Okay, we got to take notes. Most awkward conversation, most inappropriately dressed, worst breath, most notably absent, most long-winded, biggest booger. Worst PO, and then my favorite was, I thought you were dead. Go ahead, man.
And what was that checklist?
The wake checklist.
The visitation
checklist.
The noticeably absent one, like
so
hit a chord. I was like,
so this is a checklist that you're checking off for that.
So we sent this to our cousins, our brothers.
So we're playing the game.
You're playing bingo. You're playing funeral bingo.
Wake bingo. Yes.
My family does this sometimes.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Yes.
For weddings.
Okay. All right. That's good.
So fun. That's great. I'm
at least you didn't talk about it on a podcast.
Yes.
You guys were most notably absent at my dad's wedding, or my dad's wedding,
for good reason.
We
were at St. Mary's. Yeah. But the one thing that was interesting when my dad passed, he was obviously very funny, and he dealt with these situations with humor. And it was Christmas night that he had not eaten for a week, and it was getting close. And Christmas was his favorite holiday, and Mark should be. Matt gets the point. Anyway,
no. Real quick though, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to interrupt again. Real quick, just real preface. So when I was with him the last moment he was conscious in the nursing home, they always have Me TV on. So what Gunsmoke was on.
Yeah, Mark killed my dad.
So he's laying there.
The pillow's still in your hand, or you put it down at the.
He's laying there, and I go, yeah, that Miss Kitty, she's got some nice tits. Well, my dad just busts out laughing
as he was drinking water.
So he starts aspirating and inhaling it into his lungs.
Yeah.
He never woke up again.
His already weakened lungs.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, weird. It says he died by pneumonia, which is odd.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, the night nurse at the nursing home said, why don't you all go home? I've seen this 100 times. I will call you.
This is Christmas night.
This is Christmas evening. And now we were sitting there, and it was hysterical. It was quiet. It was like midnight, peaceful. And we're sitting there in a circle around my dad, and we start sending each other.
Oh, you weren't
verses.
Singing? Oh,
no, we weren't singing.
Okay,
no, exactly, not singing that. But we started doing our own version of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" about the surroundings, and it was just we were sitting there giggling, laughing at the different. And it was about just the observations. Some guy.
I have it on my phone, but
during it, some guy strolls up in a wheelchair at midnight, completely naked, behind my brother Paul, and I was like, "Oh, Paul, take a look." He turns around, busts out laughing. We're like, "What is going on here?" But the nurse came up and said, "Look, you guys go home. I've seen this. I will call you if it's getting close." So at 5:30 in the morning, we get a call, and we rush. We get up there in 5 minutes. My dad's breathing very heavily. We stand around him or sitting.
Was
around
he still
him.
watching Gunsmoke? Why was he breathing heavily?
No, it was the Jeffersons. Anyway, so there was the four of us. Yeah,
the four of us are around him, and we started playing that song that was played at my Uncle Artie's funeral, the Holly song, and it was "Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother." And my dad's breathing very heavily, and ironically, but anyway, so we're sitting there and we're telling him, "Look, Dad, we're going to take care of Mom. You don't have anything to worry about." And he's got these 2 tears streaming down his cheeks, and all of a sudden, My brother Paul lifts his leg, rips the largest fart, and right behind that was Brian. Lifts his leg, rips the longest fart. My dad takes his last breath, and that was it. He
Smelling his kids
after two successive farts. So
we're laughing, and Matt goes, "I think he died." I'm like, "I think that was it. That was what he inhaled. Like the last thing he inhaled." And it was like we were like, out of all,
no sweet nothing.
This was exactly. Like, this was kind of like poetic. But he was an epic farter though.
There's
he
no better
appreciated
way.
a well-timed fart.
I mean, after a night at Bissell, we'd wake up.
Yeah,
in the
I'm sure
morning.
he's like, thanks for the farts.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think he had a solid shift for 20 years. I mean, you wake up in the mornings at our house and it'd be echoing down the hallway.
And the best was when he'd laugh at them. He just like giggle and laugh at how funny. We're like, yeah, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
But the sweetest thing about that moment was that the hospice. And first of all, hospice is absolutely such a wonderful thing. But going through it with my
Takes a special person.
it does.
Help with
and the sweetest nurse, and she said, I said, is that part of dying? Him with
the brother
tears.
farting?
No, not the farting. Yeah, no.
Is your kid's farting part of the
Do you
diet?
see that a lot?
With his tear, she's like, no. She's like, he knew you were there, and I believe he knew we were there because that's exactly kind of
You could smell it.
The faith. Yeah, exactly. So they went and ended up getting him dressed.
He's got water and gas.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a Rudloff fart. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So they get him dressed, and they said, "Oh, you can go back in there." And he's in his clothes, whatever. And Mark had a clown nose and put a clown nose on him, and then
a clown nose.
You open the curtain, he's got laying there with his clown nose on. Yeah. So yeah.
We're like, we're not right. This isn't right.
They used to love it in the nursing home, but they had a Veterans Day ceremony one time, and they said, raise your hand if you're a veteran. And my dad, he's like raises his hand, and I look over. He was in the National Guard. I lean over. I go, "You fucking draft dodger!" he just busts out laughing. He's giggling. So it was classic.
Did the loss of your dad help when your mom passed in 2025, right? When I got that right the first time? No.
I think
when drunk Nostradamus here predicted your mom.
When I called it, Babe Ruth.
One thing I will say this, I think with my dad, one thing that was really, I remember the most.
Another question. Has your mom passed yet?
Yes, she has.
Yeah.
But, grief, it's exhausting physically, and mentally. Like you, and I don't know if you experienced it with your dad, Max, or Jake. I forgot about it. He's more important than your dad. But anyway, no, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you at least went to Jake's funeral.
Also, Max doesn't. But Max hasn't grieved yet.
Yes. But
he's dead?
2 weeks later, you're just exhausted, and then you really realize you got to take some time. But so we did have that knowledge going in with my mom or whatever. So it was kind of more, take care of yourself.
Give me a time frame of age, a time stamp on age. Your dad, how old?
So that was 8 years ago. We were 39. Yeah.
How old was?
How old was he? He was 69.
Yeah, and then you guys were
39. Yeah, we were 30 years apart. Yeah. And then my mom, she just passed.
Yeah, I know that
71.
one.
Yeah. But that being said, what was weird about my mom was that when my dad died, I didn't cry until really that night or whatever. But with my mom, I was so exhausted. But I remember I just burst out crying and cried the entire way home. And it was so, it was just so unexpected. I thought I was more prepared, and
that you cried, not that you
yeah. And then not that I didn't, I knew I was going to cry at some point, but it was just, I think it was just, your mom is your mom, I mean,
100%.
even though,
what a philosopher.
She was not the
your
same.
Mom is your mom. Inspirational. Write that down, kids.
Write it down.
There's nothing that's a special bond, and so even though she was a shell of her former self, it was just weird that
it's a milestone that is
and it was just weird that she was gone.
Well, I think one for me too is with both my parents, and I think anyone can relate to this, no matter if their parents are gone or still alive, is that I think the best tribute to your parents is the positive things you can carry on in terms of a legacy and how you treat people and how it's always fun to, my dad was always into making people laugh and just getting them in a good mood, and I always enjoy trying to be that positive and that type of person to make light of things, not necessarily in a disrespectful way, depends on the audience, but you know what I mean. It's just when I see you guys, I know I'm going to laugh my butt off every time. So that's the kind of reaction that I enjoy, that providing for people. And also just my mom, she was such a thoughtful person, and so I think that's kind of even though my parents had challenges and you just kind of, if you can carry on like the positive things, and they weren't bad people at all. They're great people. But, I just think that, that is definitely a tribute, is just being able to instill in your own kids and everything, just what you learned.
Yeah. And when I look at, your situation versus my situation, and I think of grief and responding to grief, I think of, a lot of people come to me and they say, knocking on wood here prematurely, but I can't imagine losing a twin brother. That's got to be the worst. And now that I'm past that, 13 years removed, I'm like, no, man, I can't imagine. There's two things I can't imagine: losing a child now that I have two.
Yeah.
I think that would easily, not even a question in my mind, eclipse. I think you lose a child that is unequivocally terrible, and then losing a parent before you're, not that you're ever ready, but like the ages you lost a parent, or Max, you losing a parent. And, you mentioned to me, after your dad's passing, like, hey, there were still things I wanted to share with him, still things I wanted to learn from him. And I think in my head, like, there's still things, not necessarily that my dad's going to teach me anything new. Right, Dad? I'm going to probably teach him a few things, but it's sharing my life with them.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel, not for my own sake, I want my parents to know, hey, you did a good job.
Right.
Absolutely. You did a good job raising me, so they get to see it.
Exactly.
And this isn't to make you feel bad, but I can imagine what I would miss from, there's certain things in your life that happen and you get to tell your parents about it and you tell no one else.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, something happened at work, and you don't share salary or emotion. Certain things you just don't say. Hey, Mom, I paid my house off. Not that that's happened to anyone I know, but that would be something you would tell maybe your parents and not anybody else. Max, you don't get to do that.
No,
to
and I'm probably not going to pay my house off.
Your mom might listen, but like I enjoy those moments that
I'm fucking happy for you.
They got the twins, but they don't got any parents.
Yeah, I think that like the hardest thing is that exactly. Other than like you talked about grandparents, that's hard for me. My wife's dad has also passed, so my kids are not going to have a grandpa.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's always been really hard. But like you said, there was so much that I felt I still needed. And it kind of goes back to what you said when you want to take good things from them.
Yeah.
The night my dad died, I didn't cry. I had shit to do. And that was a page out of Mike Otten's book. When Jake died, I saw my dad break down in your parents' basement a week later.
Wow.
And he didn't shed a tear for a week.
Wow.
No, he was on a mission that night.
Not healthy.
He was
not
like,
healthy.
He was like, there's things that need to be done
but
tonight.
He took phones. He had shit to do. He was talking to detectives. He was setting stuff up. And so
and just being there as somebody that wasn't crying is important.
That was kind of the role that I immediately fell into the night he died.
Yeah.
We have shit to do. I have shit to do. My sister needs me. My mom needs me. Like, we have roles, because that was his role when he was here. And so I was very proud to have had that, and grateful, because I know that was a Mike Otten trait.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And and we've talked about this too real quick. I know we're running out of time, but I don't know what's worse, losing a parent immediately or watching them suffer for years, and
I would have liked a little butter zone.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch I didn't want to wipe his ass, but I was hoping to get a little more than 50 seconds out of it.
I know. But like, I will say this, one of the worst things in the world to experience as especially as an adult kid, is when your parents are looking back at you with the helplessness of a child. Yeah. And like, you're now the adult,
the roles are reversed.
But so you're right. I mean,
right. I am very lucky that my dad's heart exexploded at 57. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But I don't know what's worse. But I mean, I think
at least you got your dogs. We're back.
I do have my dogs.
I think the perfect situation would be like, 2-month diagnosis. You say bye, and they're gone.
Yeah. A couple more years would have been nice, but hey, I don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to
get a false sense of security.
5.
Oh my God, guys, we just missed a
he had a heart attack. He had stents put in. They're like, oh my God, he had a widowmaker. He should be dead. He's good to go home. I picked him up. I took him home, and I was like, cool. He popped the frozen pizza in. We still haven't heard back from the folks at Tombstone. I think that might have done
what's
it.
the brand?
Yeah.
All right, 5-minute warning to totally cut you off.
Yeah.
No,
it was the worst day of my life.
Yes.
I leave, and then 6 hours later, he had another heart attack, allegedly. and passed. So
That's
it was a very much lulled into a false sense of security. I got a phone call late at night and I was like, oh, this is probably not awesome.
Right, exactly.
My mother-in-law didn't break into my house to tell me great news.
Right,
Oh my
right,
gosh.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And I have two questions
Sure.
before we end. Is there, just with the theme of the episode and the podcast, is there any other mechanism? Humor is obviously, from what I can tell, your go-to.
Yeah, and I always throw in at this point, like at the end of the episode, this podcast stands on the same two pillars as Team Jakey, which is Jake's legacy. We've got to tell some Jake stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the bridging the gap to resources, which in this podcast usually comes down to coping mechanisms and humor and kind of the Team Jakey style. So, but it also means you guys are the guests. So I think what Sam's asking is right on point, right?
Yeah. What is there any other coping mechanism that you guys have used? And there may not
that
be.
Anheuser-Busch does not produce.
No, I think it's a simple thing, and I get undisciplined and often on the wagon is like just a half-hour walk every night.
Yeah,
you sleep better. You have some time to yourself.
Is this an intervention about my weight?
It's about my.
You guys brought me down here for this?
Yeah, it's Fat Matt.
Fat Matt and Fat Max?
Fat Man.
Yeah.
God.
Thanks for having us.
Is that the new pod?
Yeah. No wonder there were no snacks.
I started
in here.
lactating, so I know I need to.
But I mean,
something.
it sounds. I mean, it's just something that I've had. Work. I've been on. I mean, and I think sometimes medication works for people. Like, I mean, I've been on a low dose, anxiety pill for years. I mean, and just because I've tried to come off it.
Like
we're
but it's not the same one.
And I've tried to come off it before, and my wife's like, "Yeah, you need to get back on that."
And I don't think there's any problem with being on it for life.
No. I mean, if some people need it, some people don't. It's just. But I think
sometimes you need it for a long time, and then suddenly you don't anymore.
Right. You're right.
It's very fluid.
That's the thing. There should be no shame
Yeah.
in any type of treatment, and you might find that certain treatments don't work for you, but
yeah,
there's always other options that can be helpful for people. And I think that's definitely. And Mark and I have being twins has been interesting, but there were periods in our lives where we were very low at point mentally, and we were naturally worried for each other, and and I think the interesting thing about mental health in general is that I don't think there's anything as frustrating as not being able to control how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes when your brain is just you can't control. It's
working against you.
It's working against you, and that's a feeling of desperation, and it's not a good feeling, So to have the courage and not necessarily the courage, but to have the will to just reach out for help and let people know you're feeling a certain way. You're not alone. People go through stuff,
and just seeing a therapist just to talk sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's helpful too.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But and I think that I think that's the biggest thing is like there's strength in numbers and people realizing like there's not a rule book for life. We go through life and we do the best we can. There's not, and sometimes you just need to ask for help or let somebody know how you're feeling.
Yeah. And if you do get that life raft thrown to you, take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a big thing that people don't realize.
And my last question to you was going to be, what would you say to somebody that's dealing with grief or newly dealing with grief? But I think you've basically answered that question.
Yeah. Right. I think I would say, surround yourself with people that care about you, but sometimes you just need time to yourself too. I mean, go get some exercise, just do whatever you do to kind of disconnect a little bit, but and don't be afraid to ask for help. And like I said, I mean, sometimes you just need a third party to point something out that is obvious, and that's happened to me before. I think I've done that to other people before, and so
it's also huge hearing like you're right, that is difficult.
Yeah.
Whether it's something at work or something in a marriage, Matt, where you're like, hey, yeah, that is difficult. I do see that you're struggling with that. That validation from a
third
party is huge.
Yeah. And if for the listener, I like to say, for the person suffering or dealing with something is, hey, be open to the conversation. But for the listener that maybe not be dealing with something, but listening to somebody dealing with something, maybe it's a flux in a different situation for every situation. Is if somebody loses their twin brother, maybe don't go that day. Hey man, you want to have the conversation? It's always be open to the conversation. Know when it's the right time. You can't know, but it's just be empathetic. I think is one of the main things I try to say and live is empathy and read the room. I know that's hard for everybody, but I think you guys are a really good example of that, and I'm glad you two came on the podcast today to talk about
I
it.
appreciate that. Yeah, and real quick, I don't know if you remember this, but at Jake's wake, walking in, you came up the line and you said, we gave you a hug, and you said to me and Matt, it'll be okay. You said that to us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was something you were trying to tell yourself or whatever, but I mean, that blew me away. I was like, holy shit, because you knew that it affected us too, and you said it'll be okay. And
yeah, and
it was really just telling you that one of you can go and the other one will be fine. You don't need both of them.
There are still two of you.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's like two eyes.
Yeah.
You don't need two.
Yeah.
You don't need an understudy in life.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
There's a reason you can give a kidney away.
You still have
You'll
four
be
kidneys.
fine.
You still have 4 kidneys.
Then I handed him a sword, and I was like, figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll play producer and say,
that's enough.
you guys should say your names how you want them to be on the podcast, and just say your name.
Oh, Mark Rudloff.
Matt Rudloff.
And then same for you guys, and then do a little wrap up.
Yeah. This is Sam Zeller.
This is Max Otten
with Team Jakey. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Cornhole tournament coming up September 19th at the Knights of Columbus in Florissant. It is the Team Jakey Fest now. All right. It is not just a Cornhole tournament. It's a festival. All right. All you can eat, all you can drink. We're going to have more than ever there. We're going to have live bands.
4 bands.
4 bands.
Maybe 5, it sounds
Mark's going to tell long stories.
Yeah, we're gonna have him on. Actually, we should get
you
on the mic.
Could you bring that coffee story to Team Jakey Fest that you had earlier?
If you want to snip this for a promo, guys, Mark drinks coffee.
I do.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if Matt croaks before me, I'll be on a commercial for something.
And I'll
you
say
get hit by a bus and you're like, you should have been drinking coffee.
I'll say it for these guys too. Thanks for all the Team Jakey support. You guys always show up, not just to goof off with these guys, but you show up.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Yeah,
It's our pleasure.
absolutely great. And
we only hit like half of our outline, so you guys will be returning guests.
Oh, we'll be returning guests. That'll be good.
It's an ever-growing outline. I
If
feel
you
like
have more to say, you'll get to come back.
Yeah.
well, that could also. There's another podcast
Absolutely.
called that, so you can't even.
Yeah.
That
tag
is true. There is a more to say. Randy, shout out. Send me a
Randy.
love, Randy.
If you have a bowl of gobstoppers though when I come back, I am going to be.
You
concerned.
said those were over.
That
Yeah.
couch might look a little different.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for being on. This was a blast. And I think at the end of the day, hey, if something's going on, I'm not saying humor is your route, but try to just think outside the box, enjoy company, find your people.
Call the Rudloffs.
Call
These two.
call these
You're
two.
struggling, call them. We'll put your. We'll give them. We'll give everybody their
Actually,
number.
the call log now just goes straight to their numbers.
Yeah.
No, but hey, at the end of the day, 988. Those are your resources, teamjakey.org. You can find us there, and you can listen to this podcast anywhere that you stream podcasts. Okay? Thank you, and this is the Team Jakey Podcast.
Oh, my friend, you're not alone. Though you're far from home, hear me for what I say. You can always save the day, even if you're down and out. And the one you love can do without. It'll be okay. You can always save the day.
You're listening to the Team Jakey Podcast. We want to acknowledge that this podcast discusses mental health, suicide, grief, loss, and other difficult topics. We also want to be upfront about something. Our conversations may not sound like what people expect from a mental health podcast. We have experienced significant loss, and humor has been one of the ways we've learned to cope. Sometimes humor is dry, sometimes it's dark, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. That doesn't mean we take these topics lightly. In fact, it's because we've lived through them that we talk about them the way we do. Our goal is to never minimize anyone's pain, offend people, or make light of mental illness, suicide, or grief. Our goal is to create honest conversations that help people feel less alone and encourage them to seek support when they need it. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone you trust, contact a mental health professional, or call or text 988 for immediate support.
The Team Jakey Podcast is produced in part with Kerrigan Studios. Music by Facing Infamy. Learn more at teamjakey.org.